You're now listening to the Win or Lose Sports Show. Talking sports, hip-hop to pop culture. Available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are heard. It's kickoff time.
Welcome to the show. First of all, today is June 30th, which is the first day for free agency in the NBA. So it's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of players moving or getting re-signed. One of the headlines that happened today was Kevin Durant requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Two of the teams that he wants to go to is Miami and Phoenix. I think there's other teams that would fit into what Brooklyn needs and what Kevin Durant could fit into. So, first of all, one of the teams that I believe that Kevin Durant should go to is the Atlanta Hawks. Why the Atlanta Hawks? Because they just signed or traded for Murray from San Antonio, and they have John Collins, which will be a good trade to Brooklyn to play alongside Ben Simmons. So Brooklyn will receive John Collins and maybe a few draft picks and some other players for Kevin Durant, which would be a phenomenal lineup for Atlanta when you got KD, you got Murray or Murphy, and Trae Young. So, it's maybe not one of the teams that he want to be traded to, because in order to go to Phoenix, that's a big move for Phoenix, because I think they will have to move Devin Booker along with DeAndre Ayton, which I don't think they're trying to re-sign DeAndre Ayton. So, and Brooklyn is not going to take just DeAndre Ayton for Kevin Durant. So I think that is a team that he might want to go to, but it's out of the question for Brooklyn with those with that trade with those players. But Atlanta, it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit. I think Trae Young, and KD can play together and win some games, make a good playoff run, hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So I'm going to go to Atlanta and see who they have on their roster. And I'm thinking John Collins is the only. Maybe Clint Capella too, along with John Collins. Hopefully not. Maybe they can just work with John Collins and a few draft picks, maybe a few small players, because you still got Lou Williams, 6 Man of the Year, always in the running for 6 Man of the Year. So I think that with Kevin Durant added to that team, and Nate McMillan's a good coach, that I think Kevin Durant will like. Nate McMillan's a great coach, and been in the NBA for years, coaching good teams. So John Collins to the Brooklyn Nets for Kevin Durant, along with a couple of the draft picks. Another team I'm thinking about is the Pelicans. And Not for. I don't think they should trade for Ingram. I'm thinking they should go from Kevin Durant from Brooklyn to New Orleans for Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson to Brooklyn to play alongside Ben Simmons. Yeah, Kevin Durant in New Orleans with Ingram and McCollum with Willie Green, who's in that fraternity with or that friends group with Chris Paul and Coach Monty Williams for Phoenix Suns. I just think that'll be a good fit. Move KD to the 4 or Ingram to the 4. Either way, two forwards there. You got CJ, of course, and you got a nice young core player. Zion didn't play last year, so what are they missing from Zion? And they made a nice playoff run, even though they got put out in the first round. But hey, they finished in the 8th seed, winning the play-in game and playing against Phoenix in the first round. So I think KD to New Orleans is a good one. KD to Atlanta is a good one. KD to Phoenix, I don't know. I just don't think they have enough to give Brooklyn without losing Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and maybe Mikal Bridges. He finished second in Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, last year. So who knows? But that's the big news of the day. So why not start that? Put that in my first episode to talk about. If you have any comments or anything you want to call in, call 213-293-9363. Leave a comment. I'll play it on my next episode, or I'll make a post for it on our social media, which is Win or Lose Show, at Win or Lose Show on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. So now that Kevin Durant is leaving to go wherever he gets traded to, now that he requested a trade, where does Kyrie go? Kyrie's not staying in Phoenix. In Brooklyn. I know that much. So I believe I know he wants to go to LA. So Kyrie to LA is possible. They're saying that maybe Kyrie and KD can go to LA, but I don't think LA has enough to dump enough players to send to Brooklyn to make that a viable trade for Brooklyn. I would say Kyrie to the Lakers for AD and Westbrook, which I think could work for both teams. But who knows? We'll see. Kyrie back with LeBron. What can they do in the Western Conference? Especially if it does happen to that KD goes to Phoenix. That'll make Phoenix another powerhouse. If KD goes to New Orleans, that'll make New Orleans a powerhouse. So wherever KD goes to in the Western Conference, I know Dame wants him in Portland. So KD to Portland makes Portland a nice contender. But don't count out the Clippers. Clippers who just signed John Wall. You got John Wall, Paul George, and Kawhi coming back from injury. Makes the Clippers a nice contender in the Western Conference, which Clippers will be maybe in my top 5 teams in the NBA next year. So I could talk about that. Top 5 teams next year in the NBA. Number 5, the Boston Celtics. know we finished Eastern Conference Finals and went to the finals, NBA Finals this past year. I just think that we have a lot to work on, and there's a lot of movement going on in the NBA, especially during free agency. So Boston, number 5, which would make them maybe top, of course, top 3 in the Eastern Conference, but number 4 would be the LA Clippers, with John Wall coming to Clippers, and Kawhi coming back, Paul George, of course. Clippers will be number 4. I think they're a great contender for the Western Conference championship. To play any team in the Western Conference, Warriors or whoever else I have in my top 5. Number 3 would be the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, they didn't go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they finished, in a good standing without Chris Middleton. With Middleton back, I think they'll be better than Boston next year. Even though that's my team, but sports is sports, basketball is basketball. You got to talk real. You got to make it make sense. So number 2 will be the Miami Heat. I think that Miami was right on the cusp of going to the finals. Of course, they lost in the 7 games to the Celtics. Jimmy Butler wasn't 100%. Kyle Lowry was not 100%. I think they'll add some key elements to their team. Maybe could be Kevin Durant. They lost PJ Tucker to free agency. He goes to Philadelphia. But there's plenty of other solid players, defensive players, offensive players that they can add. And if they get Kevin Durant or not, I think they'll still be on my number 2 team. Of course, number 1 will be Golden State, who I believe will be back in the finals next year, and winning the championship back to back, winning their 5th championship. Winning within this era, their 5th championship, 6 overall. I just believe that they are the team to beat. Like Ric Flair said, you got, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. You got to beat the Golden State Warriors in order to become, top of the NBA mountain. And, they're just fierce with those young players. Kuminga getting better. Wiggins coming over and played amazing. You still got Jordan Poole and other role players. Gary Payton Jr., actually they lost him in free agency, I believe, to another team. He signed with somebody else, I believe. But, they're still that team to beat. They still have Wiseman, who did not play last year, who was hurt, and he'll be back, which is, James Wiseman was a top-tier player coming into Golden State. And, he's going to be the missing piece that they didn't have last year, even though they played well and won the championship. So with Wiseman, as a defensive threat and offensively, that makes Golden State go up to another level. So we'll see what happens in the NBA next year. I'm just excited to see all the moving pieces and the free agency that happens this year. So let's see, you got any new movement? Trey Burke signed with the Rockets, or traded to the Rockets. Let's see. Yeah, so some of the key free agents that are out there. You got Kyle Anderson, who played for Memphis last year. DJ Augustine for the Lakers. You got, of course, DeAndre Ayton, which Phoenix, I don't think they're gonna sign. If they do sign, they're gonna sign and trade him, I believe, to try to sign and trade him to Brooklyn for KD, but I don't think they have enough to do that. Kent Bazemore for the Lakers. Mobamba for Orlando. Let's see what happens with him. He's a good player. 4 years in with Orlando, I think that he needs some work done on offense, but defensively he's great. We'll see what happens with that. But it's a lot of free agents and a lot of moving parts that are happening. Trey Burke, I went to Phoenix, traded to Rockets. I said that. But we'll see what happens. In the NBA, trades and the free agency is always exciting. It's been more exciting because of all the player options and people opting out of their contracts and trying to explore what's going on. The trade deadline used to be like that until they made these different rules with the contracts and everything. So now players have options to not be traded, but to take those options and to say, okay, now I want to explore free agency, which is great for the players. They didn't have that freedom to do back in the 80s and 90s. So, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited. Hopefully Boston will get some players signed or make some movements to make our team better. I know Marcus Smart is the point guard, but I think we need a solid point guard that's going to manage the game properly. I mean, no disrespect to Marcus Smart, but he's not that guy. Defensively, yes. Still, in order, headstrong and knowledgeable of the game and a solid Chris Paul type of point guard. If there's one out there like that, but I think that's what we need. A solid, game manager type of point guard that's going to, keep everybody in line, be a leader on the floor, not just somebody who, emotionally, but knowledge of the game and how to keep people in line. Because we don't have that on that team. Jason Tatum is not that guy. Jaylen Brown he plays his role very well. Jason Tatum is a scoring leader, but he's not. I don't think he's a floor leader. So we need a general floor leader on that team to give us some kind of structure to relay what the coach is saying to the players. We just don't, we just don't have that. That's what we missed. That's why we had averaged 18 turnovers a game, that's not going to win you championships. So we can play solid defense and play great offense, but if we turn over the ball, that's not going to win anything. I'm not surprised that we lost to the Golden State Warriors, who had the great chemistry and great coaching, and Draymond Green, who's a fierce competitor. He played his role. He did what he was supposed to do to get his troops rallied, and their emotional leader and Andre Iguodala and all the other supporting cast. They did what they had to do. We don't have that. We had Al Horford, and that's it. He can't be that guy. He's a great supporting cast and probably one of the best bench players in the NBA right now. But we're great, not bench players, but supporting cast in the NBA right now. So we just need a solid point guard that's going to manage the game and get our team in the place to where we need to be mentally, emotionally, and to settle down and not force so many turnovers. So moving on from the NBA, let's talk about the NFL. What's coming up next year? The Cowboys, who had a decent year last year. We need a lot. Last year we had a decent record, but when it comes to the playoffs, we didn't perform how I thought we should have performed. I think it's because of coaching. Mike McCarthy is not the coach that we need. That's the coach that Jerry Jones needs. That's the coach that Jerry Jones feels that he can kind of control and manage easier for him. But I think we need a coach like Bill Parcells type of coach, a coach or a coach that's going to be fierce with the players, not a players coach. That's not what we need. We don't need a easygoing, nice guy that's gonna shake everybody's hands and say it's gonna be okay. It's okay. No, we needed somebody that's gonna get in their butts and be that type of leader that's gonna rally our players to want to win games. We got a few months to see what's going to happen with that, with the Cowboys. But I'm always excited for football season. That's just football. Sundays, watching Cowboys or whoever is always an exciting time. But I want to win. I want the Cowboys to have a nice winning season. So, who is having a winning season is the Yankees, who are now 53-24 right now. 56-20. I messed up. Okay, 56-20. So, Yankees having a good season. Won our last 4 games. I think we're playing the Houston Astros right now. Yeah, so Yankees are having a good season. Boston had a good season. We finished in the NBA Finals. Hopefully the Yankees will play this well into October and win the World Series. It's been a few years since we've been there and since we won it, so I'm praying and hoping that we finish the season how we started the season. Aaron Judge is playing good. Of course, Torres is amazing. Rizzo is playing great, and Stan, of course. So pitching has been great. Savino he's playing right now, but I'm excited to see what the Yankees are going to do, how they finish this year. Hopefully we'll bring home the World Series. So let's continue to play well, and shout out to Aaron Boone, who was one of my favorite players when he played for the Yankees. So as a manager, I think he's doing great. Ownership has done great with bringing in good players the right way, and we'll see what happens with them. So if you have any questions or comments, give me a call, 213-293-9363. Leave a voice message. We'll play it on the next show, and we'll continue to bring you some good content on the Win or Lose Sports Show. See you next time.